So please be sure that your microphones are muted to minimize background noise. You may also utilize the chat box throughout the presentation to ask any questions you may have. We will have time for Q&A at the end of the presentation so that we have an accurate record of attendance and are able to notify attendees when slides become available. Please place your name and university in the chat box. Should you have any difficulties with Zoom during the presentation, please utilize the displayed tech support information. In accordance with federal civil rights law and U.S. Department of Agriculture civil rights regulations and policies, the USDA, its agencies, offices, and employees and institutions participating in or administrating USDA programs are prohibited from discriminating based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, gender identity, including gender expression, sexual orientation, disability, age, marital status, family or parental status, income derived from public assistance programs, political beliefs, or reprisal of retaliation for prior civil rights activity, and any program or activity conducted or funded by USDA. Not all bases apply to all programs. Remedies and complaints filing deadlines vary by program and incident. The displayed slide contains contact information for individuals with disabilities to request reasonable accommodations. Language access services will be provided to limited English proficient individuals upon request, and anyone wishing to file a complaint can utilize the phone number, fax number, or postal mailing address listed on the slide.
Good afternoon, everyone. All right. Thank you, Keesha. Good afternoon, everyone. We would like to thank you all for joining us for the CYFAR Sustainable Community Projects 2023 RSA orientation. My name is Bonita Williams, and I am in the Institute of Youth, Family, and Community, and I serve as one of the national program leaders for the Division of Youth and 4-H and have responsibility for the CYFAR program. We have a program specialist, Andrea Wakira, who couldn't join us today. She's on leave. And she's also a program specialist for the CYFAR program.
And I am Keesha Corbin. I'm a program specialist also within the Institute Youth and Family and Community, and will be standing in for Andrea while she's out.
Hello, everyone. I'm Akeelia Lewis. I am the program assistant, also with the Institute of Youth and Family and Community. And welcome.
We will have two guests with us today. They're from the CYFAR Professional Development and Technical Assistance Center, Dr. Suzanne Vanden Hoogenhoff. She's an evaluation specialist and researcher with the University of Minnesota. And Mr. Philip Ely, he's a coaching coordinator with Penn State University. And the topics we'll cover today include an overview of NIFA, the CYFAR Sustainable Community Projects overview, the CYFAR SCP request for application and the details, a proposal evaluation, and the CYFAR Professional Development and Technical Assistance Center will share as well. And we will have additional information and resources, and we also will allow some time for questions.
Okay, Bonita, the NIFA overview.
Okay, thank you. NIFA stands for the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, and it's an extramural science funding agency within USDA's REE mission area. NIFA invests in and supports initiatives that ensure the long-term viability of agriculture, and NIFA provides funding and strategic leadership for programs that ensure groundbreaking discoveries in agriculture-related sciences and technologies, which teach people who can put them into practice. Now, some of the topics covered by NIFA programs, I won't read all of these to you, but I'll highlight some of those. Advanced technologies, business and economy, farming and ranching, human sciences, food science, and international. Our next slide is the program overview. And to share with you our CYFAR purpose and priorities. CYFAR marshals the resources of the land grant institutions and the cooperative extension system so that in collaboration with other organizations, and we do encourage collaboration, they can develop and deliver educational programs to youth who are at risk, underserved, and underrepresented. The CYFAR program has two strategic objectives. The first one is to support community educational programs for at-risk, low-income children, youth, and families, which are based on locally identified needs, grounded in research and which lead to the accomplishment of one of 4 national outcomes. And we're going to share the outcomes with you later. And the second one is to integrate CYFAR programming into ongoing extension programs for children, youth, and families, ensuring that at-risk, low-income children, youth, and families continue to participate in extension and other 4-H programs. And our next slide addresses those CYFAR national outcomes. There are 4 of them: early childhood, school age, teen, and parent and family. And we do ask that projects select one national outcome to report against. You can have more than one, but we do require that you report against one. And there are 3 CYFAR SCP components: community, technology, and sustainability. And the first component, community, has 3 tenets. The first is a multi-level approach. The second is a community collaboration approach. And the third is a systems change approach. The second CYFAR SCP component is technology. And each CYFAR SCP project must have an explicit technology plan to ensure that information and communication technology is appropriately integrated throughout your program design. The second one, programs should have adequate information and communication. Let me restart over there. Programs should have an adequate information and communication technology infrastructure, such as hardware, software, network connectivity, mini labs, and technology expertise to support the program. And our third one is sustainability. Each CYFAR SCP project should develop and submit a sustainability plan after the project is over. And selecting your CYFAR community sites, we stated earlier that each project needs to have community sites. If you're a single project, you could have up to 3 community sites. And if you're a joint project, you can have up to 6. Now, as far as the criteria for the community sites. The first one is 50% of the population in targeted communities must be living at or below 185% of the federal poverty level. And the second one, a minimum of 50% of the participants at each site must meet one or more of the following characteristics. I won't read all of these to you, but a couple of them, a parent did not complete high school, or the family income falls below the federal poverty level threshold. A logic model. Every project must submit a logic model, and you'll get more information about its submission or development and submission later on in the presentation. There are 5 elements of the logic model, and they include identified needs and assets, desired results, both short-term and long-term, indicators, short-term and long-term, activities and resources, and eligibility is simply all land-grant institutions are eligible to apply for this funding. 1862, 1890, and 1994 institutions are eligible. There is one significant change from prior years with this year's application. The number of grant applications per institution for 2023 is no longer limited to one application. NIFA will now accept multiple proposals for the CYFAR SCP from the same institution, though not the same person. The EP score, well, those states that are involved or considered EP score states are eligible to apply, and there's a preference for those particular states. And there you see the link, and I need to also state the territories and the District of Columbia are also eligible. The application submission and award limitations. The current CYFAR SCP grantees may apply for an additional new project. However, if the same community site is being used, a justification must be provided. And I need to state here that you cannot work with the same individuals. It may be the same site, but you have to work with new individuals. Only one application per land grant institution will be awarded, and subawardees are allowed and encouraged. Project and grant types. The project type is extension. This particular program is not a research program or teaching, it is only extension. And the grant types, standard and joint. The joint project, or the joint CYFAR SCP project type refers to two, and this is the ideal, institutions applying for joint CYFAR SCP funding. In a joint CYFAR SCP, the lead institution must include one additional eligible institution. All partners must share grant funds, and this sharing must be demonstrated in the budget justification. This project type should have 2 or 3 community types per eligible land grant institution. Okay. And the regular grant type, the regular CYFAR SCP project type refers to one institution applying for CYFAR SCP funding. In the regular CYFAR SCP, the applicant executes the project without the requirement of sharing the grant funds with other project partners, and you have to have 2 to 3 community sites. And now I will turn it over to Keesha.
Thanks, Bonita. So I'll go over some of the funded and not funded activities. As far as meals, if those meals are necessary for meetings and conferences, say it's a very extended meeting and you would be missing a meal otherwise, those are allowed. As far as general purpose equipment, those could possibly be allowed if they're well justified and necessary for the project. Breakfast or meals before meeting starts are not allowed. And the following are also not allowed: alcoholic beverages, entertainment costs, promotional items, incentives, rent for grantee-owned spaces, proposal writing costs, awards and certificates of achievement, capital improvements, tuition and remission, indirect costs, or any expenses that are not related to the program or project. No match is required for the CYFAR Youth, Families, and Communities at Risk funding opportunity. As far as Centers for Excellence, CYFAR SCP is one of the 14 NIFA programs that does acknowledge Centers for Excellence. Centers for Excellence must be a joint application for the CYFAR SCP program in order to be eligible. In the case that you are a Center for Excellence and there is a tie, the one who is a Center for Excellence would get priority in that case. And applicants are encouraged to visit NIFA's webpage on Centers for Excellence to learn more on the designation process. So some application details. Applications are due at 5 p.m. Eastern on March 21st, 2023. And please make sure it's 5 p.m. Eastern. The total funding amount for this year is $1,040,000. Our program code for when you are filling out the application is MC. The maximum funding per award is $160,000 for the first year. And as Bonita had mentioned previously, the number of applications or proposals submitted from each institution is unlimited. However, only one award will be awarded per institution. So this is just a breakdown of budget. For a CYFAR regular project, which would be a single project, the maximum amount requested for the proposal for the first year is $80,000. The maximum institution support is $50,400, and the minimum budget for community sites is $29,600. For a joint project, that would be $160,000 maximum amount requested for the first year. $100,800 for maximum institutional support, and a minimum budget for community sites of $59,200. For years 2 through 5, the maximum amount requested for a proposal for a single institution is $140,000. The maximum institutional support for a single is $60,200, and the minimum budget for community sites would be $79,800. For a joint project, the maximum amount requested per proposal can be $280,000. The maximum institutional support will be $120,400, and the minimum budget for community sites would be $159,600. The key components of your application are the project summary or abstract, your project narrative, your bibliography or reference list, your data management plan, and any other documents that you can see in RFA. Within the project narrative, you must include the CYFAR SCP project management, your one national CYFAR outcome, your one program model, the integrated program components, your site selection process, a 5-year logic model, 5-year plan of work, data management plan, and a Centers for Excellence justification should you determine that you would like to apply for Centers for Excellence. For the narrative, the font must be 12 point Times New Roman and 1.5 space. A single application must be 12 pages, and a joint has up to 15 pages. And this is strictly enforced. And this also includes text, figures, and tables. Tables may be single spaced. Within these 12 to 15 pages, you can describe a list of headings of information required in the narrative, the impact of research, training, infrastructure on extension to achieve its goals, cooperation and institutional involvement, and project timelines. As far as the budget forms, at the top of your budget, you should select project. Your community site budget are listed under other direct costs. Remember that when filling out your community site budgets, at the top of your budget form, you'd select subaward/consortium. And your expenses for each site are now divided out into all the categories. You should follow the budget categories, and 10% of your funds must go towards evaluation. This can include an evaluator and travel for that person. And this cannot be in kind. No more than $50,400 for a single applicant can be spent for university support, and no more than $100,800 can be spent for joint applications. Investigators must provide a data management plan up to 2 pages. And this is expected to show the type of data, the data format, data storage and preservation, sharing, protection, and public access, and roles and responsibilities. NIFA only accepts electronic submissions. Please make sure that all of your submissions are in PDF format. If we receive something that is not PDF format, we will not be able to view those specific documents. So please make sure that you submit everything in PDF format. And I will hand it back over to Bonita. Oh, never mind, this is still myself. Okay. Sorry, Bonita.
Sorry.
So the proposals.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I'm doing the evaluation process. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Proposals are assigned for review to at least 3 reviewers with the expertise in that topic. Reviewers will produce individual reviews of each proposal, which evaluate the strengths and weaknesses. And then these written reviews are used to begin panel discussions with other reviewers serving on the peer review panel. Through these discussions, peer review panelists come to a consensus on the final rating and ranking of the proposals. The evaluation criteria are based on the CYFAR SDP project management, the soundness of the national CYFAR outcome, the one program model, integrated program components, the soundness of the process for selecting the CYFAR SDP sites, the 5-year logic model, suitability and feasibility for the data management plan, response to previous review, if this is a resubmission, relevance and reasonableness of the budget and budget narratives, and the letters of support and commitment. As far as the timeline, between 1 to 2 months, that is when our RFA is open. So we are coming towards the end of that, which is March 21st, 2023. Between months 2 and 3, we will review our proposals and provide the proposal funding notifications. And then months 4 through 5, which would be 1 to 2 months after that, the review awards are finalized and made. So on average, a competitive program takes about 3 to 5 months from the proposal due date to the award being made to the institution.
And we now would like to introduce two members of our CYFAR Professional Development and Technical Assistance Center, Dr. Suzanne Van Den Hoogenhoff and Mr. Philip Elin. So we will turn it over to them.
Awesome, thank you. I am going to share my screen. There we go. So hi, I'm Suzanne Van Den Hoogenhoff. I am at the University of Minnesota and am the evaluation specialist for the CYFAR PDTA Center. I want to talk to you a little bit with my colleague at Penn State, Philip, about capacity building tools, resources, and services. And I need to find the other part of my presentation where I can actually move. There we go. I want to give you a quick summary. The CYFAR PDTA Center is here to help CYFAR grantees. And we will talk in this presentation a little bit about a lot of the requirements you will have. And there are three main points. One is you will need to create a logic model for your application. In the logic model builder on our website, we will look at that briefly. We have a survey builder where you will upload your data once you start collecting that. It includes the common measures that you should use. So we will also look at that. And we host a professional development event every year with a new grantee orientation. And if your grant is funded, then you should attend this event, which will this year be in Phoenix in May. Let's see, I need to, there we go. Nope, it's not. There, okay. All right, so we are here to help, and we do this through coaching, evaluation support, technical assistance, resources, and tools. We try to build capacity of CYFAR grantees, and with that, increasing the overall positive impact on CYFAR participants. And we try to provide needed resources for high quality implementation. So the CYFAR Professional Development and Technical Assistance Center is a collaboration between the University of Minnesota and Penn State University, and of course NIFA. We do not provide community programming, but we provide professional development and technical assistance to those CYFAR grantees that do provide community programming. And I'm gonna,
like Suzanne already said, we support our grantees through technical assistance, such as with our coaches, with open office hours. We also provide professional development in webinars, things of those natures. And we also provide a lot of tools and resources that you can reach out for from your coaches or through the website that we provide. So the PDTA Center is made up of two big components: our strategic leadership team, which is part of Minnesota and Penn State, which is led by our co-PIs, Dr. Lynn Borden and Dr. Danny Perkins. And then we also have a cadre of coaches that help support. And so with the strategic leadership team, our main focus is really providing that overall support, providing the plan of support for our grantees. You can see some of the details here on the slide, but the thing to keep in mind is that our goal is to figure out what you all need as grantees to be successful and try to do those things so that you are successful. So then that's our whole purpose, is here to help you as grantees. So our coaches, they come from across the U.S. They're all from land-grant universities or land-grant institutions, I should say. And they have coaching calls with each of the grantees once a month. And then they also provide site visits. Again, this is all for support. So they're not there to report back a report card on you, but they're there to help provide support and help you implement so that we can have effective programming. And that's where they get trained at. And so as we see on our next slide, that is our focus with the PDTA Center, is that we want to make sure that you have competent coaches. So we provide monthly training with our coaches. We do technical assistance for our coaches as well. And so we want to make sure that they're well prepared and that they're able to help support you. So your coaches have a cadre of support behind them as well. If you have any more info or questions or want some more information, you can reach out to either Suzanne or myself, or you can go to our website at CYFAR.org /our team to find out more about our structure and how we're set up. And all that support leads to these 4 goals that we're trying to make sure that we do, which is to provide a comprehensive research and an evidence-based foundation to support CYFAR programs through a variety of methodologies. That's one of the main ones. And you see the other goals up here. But again, just to sum it all up, it's all about support to the grantees, which is one of the things that makes the CYFAR grants so unique, is that you have all the support to help you out throughout these 5 years.
All right, we're getting to my favorite topic, and that is evaluation. CYFAR has a few evaluation requirements. The first one being everyone is required to evaluate their program. I think this is a good thing. We want to know that what you're doing is really improving the lives of your participants. To be able to set up a really good evaluation, you should have a logic model. In this grant application, your logic model is actually a really important component of planning and evaluating and reporting on your program, and incorporating some of those common measures that we have into it. Your logic model will also help you with your 5-year work plan, you will also develop that for your proposal. And then I've mentioned these common measures a few times now, and they are a required data that SCPs need to collect and then submit to us. To help you do this, we have a website and have capacity building resources, in tools and information you can use. Even though our goal is really to support SCPs and NIFA, some of these are available to the public. So anyone can access these and use them if they find them helpful. We regularly update our website with new tools when something new comes around that we think is really helpful for grantees. Philip already mentioned, but our website is CYFAR.org, and this is the page you will land on when you get there. So first thing that might be helpful, under the Learn tab, you will find a evaluation module, which is a quick refresher if you want to on evaluation. This is available to the wider public. Also under the Learn tab, and something that might be of interest, especially to you, is under the resources, a grant writing workshop that we held for potential applicants in the fall of 2020. And we have the recordings of those on the website. Under the Tools tab on CYFAR, the CYFAR website, we have CYFAR Suite, and this is the part of the website that you need an account for. Some parts everyone can use, other parts you can only use if you actually do have a CYFAR grant. But as you see, you can access Survey Builder there. Some of you might have already seen it because you might already have poked around the Logic Model Builder because you are looking there, and some other tools that you can use if you have a grant. The Logic Model Builder includes a different logic model template than some of you might be used to. NIFA has a specific template for it, and so which is where the Logic Model Builder comes in handy, because it gives you step-by-step instructions with examples of how to fill this out. You can edit any section of your logic model. You can then print and save a PDF to your computer, but you will also have the logic model still available in your CYFAR Suite account. I do ask that if you print your logic model and save it to the computer and you make changes before your final proposal, do that in the Logic Model Builder and not in your PDF, because otherwise, if you were to be awarded, we would have to go back in and fix that. Survey Builder is where you can create the survey with the CYFAR common measures. You can edit and save however you want to order those. And then once you have created it, you can download PDFs with the pre and post files. You can pre and post measures. You can administer this online. There's a variety of options once you have your survey in there. The Common Measures resource page is on the public facing part of our website, but we have a few common measures that everyone is required to use. If you click on the hyperlink, it'll give you a little bit more information about the measure, and then you can download the PDF version of it. These are the common measures that we require. We have a program design, which is what staff actually fills out when they set up the survey. Then we ask for demographic data, participation level, engagement. We have a program quality measure, a life skills measure, and a resilience measure. We're bringing it all together. So SCP, Sustainable Community Projects, they use the CYFAR PDTA Center resources to learn more about evaluation, other topics. You use the CYFAR Logic Model Builder to develop your logic model for your application. If you are awarded, you will use the CYFAR Survey Builder to collect and share common measures data. And we ask you to conduct site and cross-site evaluation. And then we, the CYFAR PDTA Center, supports the Sustainable Community Projects in using our tools and resources. We compile all the common measures data from Sustainable Community Projects and report on outcomes, and we conduct a national evaluation. Now, outside of this bringing it all together, there is one thing I do want to mention, and that is IRB. Every CYFAR grantee must consult with their own institution's IRB to determine whether an IRB approval is required for your CYFAR program to use the common measures. The University of Minnesota does have a IRB form, but we will not provide multi-institutional oversight because we do not collect the data ourselves. So our IRB has said you are not human subject research, and we collect only de-identified data. So we are not able to trace back to any individual, which is why our institution will not provide multi-institutional oversight. So we ask each grantee to work with their own institution's IRB. I mentioned the professional development event, which will be in Phoenix, Arizona. It will be on May 23rd and 24th. And we will have an orientation for new grantees on May 22nd. If you are awarded a grant, then you should attend this. And so you should plan for that in your budget. If you have any questions, we have an email address, cyfarpdta@umn.edu. And we look forward to welcoming new grantees. And I will.
Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Hand it back over.
Thank you, Dr. Susan and Mr. Ely, Philip Ely, for your presentation today. We appreciate your willingness to share, and we'll turn it back over to Keesha.
Okay, I will go over some more additional information. So you can use CRIS to find funded awards. This may be helpful as you prepare yours. The link is below, and we will be sending these slides out so that you can use this. Here are upcoming events. You can go to nifa.usda.gov/events for upcoming events. You can also see upcoming requests for applications on the calendar here. And here is a whole slew of grant resources as far as funding opportunities, competitive grant flowchart, the NIFA grant resources, policy guide, and direct cost guide. and other information for your benefit. And should you have any questions, you can ask Dr. Williams and I. I did see a question in the chat. What if communities being utilized were used in another CYFAR project, but a different institution had the project? Do you still need to identify that? Bonita, did you want to answer that?
Okay, could you repeat that one for me, please?
What if the communities being utilized were used in another CYFAR project, but a different institution had the project? Do you still need to identify that?
Yes. Because those individuals have had the benefit of the CYFAR program.
Okay, another question. On page 19 of the RFP, it states the project narrative must include the following with A to J. My question is specific item H. Does this need to be 2 pages for the data management plan to go into the project narrative? And is this part of the 12 to 15 pages? So is the 2 pages for the data management plan, is it part of the 12 to 15 pages for the project narrative?
No, it's separate.
And then there was also a question which I answered in the chat about attending the CYFAR PDTA conference in 2023. Yes, new grantees are expected to attend, and this should be included in budgets.
Dr. Van den Hoogenhoff, would you like to say anything about those specific ones that are expected to attend?
About the say that again, I got interrupted by my child, so
Oh, okay. Would you like to say anything at all about those that are expected to attend?
the professional development and the new grantee orientation.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have new grantee orientation in the afternoon of May 22nd, which is where new grantees get together with us, and we go over some of the CYFAR requirements and expectations. And then the professional development is, as it says, professional development, and we encourage everyone who is on the grant to attend. Now, I know that in the first year might be harder, so definitely the PI and the evaluator, I would say. But if you have any staff at the community site that can attend, they would get a lot out of it as well. As many as you can bring, we will welcome them.
Mm-hmm. And I would also add the technology individual, if that person is identified.
Yes.
It would be good for them to come as well.
Absolutely.
And there's another question in the chat about joint projects. If submitting a joint project, is one institution the lead organization and the other a subaward? For the proposal, is there one logic model for both project sites, or does each institution have to submit a separate logic model and other forms? Additionally, for one program model, can each institution localize some of the activities to align with resources available in their state or institution?
So it's the PDTA Center can speak up. The Professional Development and Technical Assistance Center can speak up. However, the expectation is one logic model that's applicable for both programs. And was there a second question, Keesha, or?
Yes, so if they're submitting a joint project, is one institution the lead and the other the sub-award?
Yes, that's correct.
And then additionally, for the one program model, can each institution localize some of the activities to align with resources available in their own state or institution?
Yes.
It-
That would be perfect.
And Dr. Williams, if I may, this is some of the things that the coach will help you out with, because that's exactly what makes the implementation a lot better for different communities, is that there's going to be some things that are going to be standard across the program, no matter where it is, but then you need to specialize it for your community so that the participants actually get the most out of that program.
Thank you.
So one other
And I
question.
would say,
Go ahead.
let me say one other thing. If you are considering a joint application, you really are supposed to, both institutions are supposed to be working together, hence the one logic model. We're not looking for institutions to each have their own separate programs. It's basically one program, but you are creating a program that'll work for two institutions, but it's one national outcome for both institutions. Hopefully that helps. And you said you had another question?
Yes, if you need more clarification, just you could type in the chat, or you feel free to speak up if you would like as well. Another question is about the year one budget. I believe that they're talking about the start date, which we've had several questions about. Can you explain when their start and end date should be for year one?
We don't necessarily tell you when your start and end date should be. That is up to you. However, I will tell you that the expectation is that you come to the professional development and technical assistance, or the PD meeting in Phoenix. And those dates are May the 22nd through the 25th. But we don't necessarily tell you when your project should start.
Okay.
Does that help? Could you ask that person? And I do apologize, everyone. I am on the phone. Keisha, could you ask that person, does that help with their question regarding
Yes.
start time? Okay.
That was Travis West. If
Okay.
you could let us know if that helped you. Another from Mary Mays was to discuss indicators from the logic model. Philip, did you want to discuss that?
I'll take that one if that's okay.
Okay.
So NIFA, we ask you to have your outcomes, which are like your broad goals for the project. And then for each outcome, you need to figure out how are you going to know that you reach that outcome, and that is your indicator. So for example, I want students to be better at science, could be an outcome. And then how do you know that? Well, the average in the class is going up from a B+ to an A-. That would be your indicator. So the indicator is how you measure your outcome.
Thanks so much. And it looks like the budget explanation as far as dates was helpful. Do we have any other questions?
Okay. Let me ask this The person that asked that first question, if you could, please email me your question, because I do want to make sure that I covered everything that was necessary for an answer. If you could email me at bonita.williams with your question at usda.gov, I would appreciate it.
Okay, and there is another question. Is an application considered a resubmitted application if you submitted a joint proposal and previously it was a single institution proposal? And you add another component as well as a different community?
No, it's not resubmitted. It would be considered a new submission.
Okay, I do not see any other questions in the chat, and we are at the top of the hour. Bonita, did you want to close us out?
All right. Well, thank you all for taking the time to join us today. I'd like to say a special thank you to Keesha Corbin, our program specialist, and Dr. Vanden Hubenhoff and Mr. Ely for joining us today. Oh, and Akeelia Lewis, who is actually a new staff member. We were glad that she could join us today. And we hope to see all of you submitting an application. Thank you so much.